Well, howdy party people and space cadets, and welcome to the Galactic Happy Hour. I'm your host, Spider Island Slim, and on this week's episode, we will be talking about one of my favorite toy lines from the 80s, and that's the GoBots. And let's just start right out and address the Zod in the room. Nowadays, the cool kids like to make fun of GoBots, like that Rebel Rouser RD over at RetroDaze.
Huh? Did somebody just say my name over the loudspeaker?
ノース。8日メアンチですケコミュースデアミソチュケはグングスイメニア、ゲマツ、スキッドロー。
Oh yeah.
嫁ちょとさメアンゾキーチゴスロ衝動セケマンス。
A goblin talk show host? That's just silly. Like those people who think that GoBots are better than Transformers? I mean, what is the deal? Really, these GoBots, where are they going? Where could they possibly need to be? I mean, you think Leader 1 is telling Scooter, hey, I'm going out for some frozen yogurt, I'll be back in an hour. No. You think Psykill is running out on the city at night, gonna catch a Broadway show, get a slice on the way home? Not likely.
ゲメンチュヘイミッチェゴスデケアンジフローズンヨーグルト
Hey, I mean these GoBots, huh? They get no respect. Yeah, I once saw a GoBot get pulled over by a cop. He said, officer, I'm sorry, was I speeding? The cop says, no, I just never seen a piece of scrap metal with a face before. Oh, I mean, no respect, no respect. We're not talking about Starscream here. Yeah, I gotta lay off those late night comedy specials.
But that just really was not my experience growing up. Me and my friends, we loved both Transformers and GoBots. Granted, Transformers had the much better animated series, but as far as the toys went, we liked them equally. As a matter of fact, in many cases, we liked the GoBots better. I certainly liked the GoBots better, because if you compare the figures in their price points, the GoBots that cost the same as the Transformers were way cooler. I mean, I love me some Bumblebee. Who doesn't love Bumblebee? But you compare someone like Leader 1 or Psykill or Coptor, whose freaking helicopter blade turned into a sword, to Bumblebee, there's no comparison. And again, I'm not trying to knock Transformers. I love me some Transformers, one of my all-time favorite properties. Heck, the IDW comic is one of my favorite comics ever as well. Just saying that GoBots, Transformers, they just went hand in hand for me and my friends. I thought they were cool, and I still think there are some super cool GoBots. And we're going to talk about some of those today. Now, first on the list, kind of a cheat, but I love this figure, or figures. They would actually be higher on the list if it wasn't kind of a cheat. But since it is a cheat, it's my show, I'll cheat if I want. But since it is kind of cheat, I figure I just throw them at number 5. And that's Monstrous, which was a GoBot combiner. Yep, GoBots had combiners as well. And again, talk about the price point and playability and stuff like that. The GoBots that made up Monstrous were way better quality than, say, the Constructicons. And Monstrous was just a better quality toy and just had more playability than Devastator. Don't get me wrong, though. Love me some Devastator. I even had Devastator twice. But Monstrous, I just thought was a little bit cooler. But Monstrous, from 1986, was a combiner. And his parts were a repaint of the Devil, Satan 6 characters from the Revenge of Kronos anime tie-in for the Machine Robo toy line. And Machine Robo, I think a big bulk of the GoBots figures were imports of that Machine Robo line. Some of them just direct imports, not even repainted or retooled. So, as I was saying about Monstrous, the interesting thing about Monstrous was they were a group of monsters that transformed into vehicles. Not robots that turned into monsters, but monsters that turned into vehicles. I thought that was really unique. Still think that's a really unique concept. But Monstrous was made up of Fright Face, Fangs, Gorejaw, Heart Attack, Southclaw, and Weirdwing. Wow, talk about a cool name, Weirdwing. I wish Weirdwing was my name. Slim Weirdwing Carroty? Weirdwing Carroty? But anyways, Monstrous was sold in a set or individually. And I seem to recall that I had all of them because I clearly remember playing with Monstrous as a kid. And that was the great thing about them is you could actually afford to get the full combiner sets with the GoBots. Let me look at my notes. Yes. So my favorite of the pieces, and I guess which is technically the real entry into this list, was Southclaw. And Southclaw was a pink Cyclops that transformed into a monster spaceship. Okay, let's just examine all those awesome things I just said. First of all, a Cyclops. I loved me some Cyclopses because of the Ray Harryhausen Cyclops from Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. And a pink Cyclops with wings that turned into a monster spaceship. I mean, come on. There's so much awesome just in that sentence. I can barely contain myself. That was one thing, too, I just loved about GoBots, is they incorporated monsters and things, unique stuff like that, into the toy line very early on. Well before I can remember Transformers doing it. And I think that's all I got to say about Monstrous. Number 4 on the list is Pathfinder from 1983. And many people would say that Pathfinder was the GoBots equivalent of the Transformer Cosmos. But this is actually incorrect. Pathfinder debuted 2 years before Cosmos, at least in toy form. I don't know about in the animated series. I didn't think the research and look and see when Cosmos appeared in the Transformers animated series, but as far as the toy line, Pathfinder was first. And man, as much as I love Cosmos, which he is a really cool looking design and just a great toy too, I always thought Pathfinder was a little bit cooler. Just that interesting, that gray design, the sleek form, and Pathfinder was a girl, which was interesting. GoBots actually incorporated regular female characters before Transformers did as well. And in the cartoon, Pathfinder was a good guy. I don't think she was actually a Guardian, just a ally to the Guardians. It was really, really hard to find information about the GoBots cartoon. And it's been so long since I've seen it, I really can't remember her character very well. Just remember how cool she looked. But as I was saying, she was a good guy, ally to the Guardians, had some human friends. Her box even read, friendly robot UFO. That's pretty cool right there. And that's one never had as a kid, wish I did, wish I had now. I would love to get me a Pathfinder. And that whole thing about how boys didn't want female figures and boys' toy lines, which I just don't think that was actually the case, because Pathfinder was actually a very popular toy, popular enough that she was re-released a year later in the second series of GoBots with a hologram card. I guess that was kind of the selling point or the gimmick of that second line, that second year, was the hologram sticker. Number 3 on the list is Loco from 1983. And Loco was a black steam locomotive and another import from the Machine Robo toy line. And this one without any form of alteration. As I said, the Monstrous ones were repaints, but Loco came in exactly how he was in the Japanese toy line. Loco was a renegade who appeared in several episodes of the cartoon. He was actually a long-serving member of the Renegades, having been there before Psykill even joined the group. And his first appearance in the animated series was actually a mistake. He was seen sitting with the Guardians in the episode Conquest of Earth. Just a little animation mistake. That used to happen quite a bit. Like there's some great Transformer mistakes of there being a bunch of different characters of the same person, or should say a bunch of the same character floating around. And of course there's the whole Cyclonus sweeps, who was Cyclonus and his armada debate that all Transformers know, and well, I don't know if we love that debate, but all of us know it. Loco is one I never had as a kid, which oddly enough, I didn't really get into trains until I was an adult. But man, now looking back, that is such a cool looking figure, and I really wish I had her. Really wish I had him even to this day. And on that, we should take some kind of break.
Power Lords,
extraterrestrial warriors.
I am Lord Power, leader of the Lords. Griptog and Rhaegoth are attacking. We must help Psyduck defend Balkan Rock.
Power Lords.
Griptog has 4 fists. Psyduck is finished. It's Lord Power. He zapped Griptog's head. But Arcus has Psyduck.
Power Lords.
Adam Power, Psyduck, Griptog, and Arcus are each sold separately from the Power Lords collection, new from Ravel.
And we're back, and now it's time for the horoscope of the week. And this week's horoscope goes out to Leo. Leo, you will confuse H.P. Lovecraft with H.R. Pufnstuf at a dinner party. It will bring shame into your family for generations to come. Now, number 2 on the list, and that is Tank from 1983. And Tank, at least in my mind, is clearly one of the most popular characters of the series. At least that's how I remember Tank, and all the animation stills and commercials and toy lines and just what my friends liked. I just remember Tank being this big, major character. Yet, when I was doing research for the episode, which I did do, it doesn't look like Tank was in that many episodes. It was hard to tell, so I could be totally wrong, which I often are. A little bit drunk as well. A little bit drunk while I was doing the research, and yeah, a whole lot of drunk going on, so don't really know. Tank transformed into a futuristic tank. I guess the name's a little on the nose there, but he was so cool looking. Love that blue paint scheme and love that just odd square design. I mean, you could just look at him and tell, of course, he was a renegade. And he was yet another import from the Machine Robo toy line, and a direct import too. But again, with that cool color scheme and everything, why would you want to change that? So cool. Great classic sci-fi design. And Tank was voiced in the cartoon by, you ready? You ready? Sure you're ready? Peter Cullen. And I'm sure every single one of you knows exactly who Peter Cullen is and what he's most famous for. And if you don't, well, I don't know why you're watching this episode. I guess maybe to be nice, but you should know who Peter Cullen is. And that brings us to number 1 on the list. And number 1 is Vamp from 1984. One of the few GoBots I still actually own, sitting on the shelf right there. Don't know if you can see that through the lens, not sure, but yeah, I actually own. And I'd get her down, but legs, she doesn't stand too well anymore. Has to kind of stay in vehicle form. But Vamp was not only another monster, but also another female character, and a female monster that transformed into a monster drag racer. How cool is that? She was a direct import of the Machine Robo character Casamodon, a devil invader, which were the villains of the toy line. And she was also very popular. She was re-released in the 3rd GoBot series with the hologram that I spoke about earlier. And she was also released as a Super GoBot. And the Super GoBots were bigger, more heavy-duty versions of the smaller GoBots. Oh man, I loved those, and I wanted the Vamp one so bad, but never saw her, not even once in stores. I think the only Super GoBots I had were Psykill and the orange-faced truck guy. I forget his name. But those were great toys. And one thing that was very cool about GoBots as well is they were much more in scale than, say, the Transformers were. Transformers were all over the place with their scale. But the GoBots, you could have a reasonable battle with your GoBots and everybody was about the right size to do what they were supposed to do. Yeah. Oh yeah, back to Vamp though. Great figure. And that cool, very alien-looking design. And Vamp, I would assume she was some kind of vampire-type robot. Again, research information on these characters were kind of hard to find, but I know she did appear in the cartoon at least once, hopefully more. So yeah, Vamp. And with that, we're at the end of the list. But before we go, let's hit an honorable mention, and that is Grungy from 1985. And Grungy, wow, you want to talk about a super unique idea and concept, but Grungy was a combiner as well as power suits for the GoBots. That's right. The chest could hold a GoBot, and then the arms and legs were little power suits that you could put your GoBots in, and then they all combined to form a big robot. And you could have the big robot with GoBots in the arms and legs, GoBots without them. The GoBots could play individually in the power suit, not combined. And then the torso transformed into a big spaceshipy thing. Oh man, Grungy was so cool and such a unique concept, and I had so much fun with that figure. Got it in a set, and I know for a fact I had the full Grungy. And odd name though, Grungy. I guess it's better than Spider Island, Slim, maybe. Either way, Grungy was a great unsung hero of the toy line, and probably would have been on this list, but already cheated with Monstrous, so I figured I'd just put the last cheat as an honorable mention. And I believe Grungy was a renegade, if I'm not mistaken. No clue if he ever appeared in the series. Somehow doubt it. And that's all the time we have for this week. Please like, comment, subscribe, and may your pants always be filled with marshmallows.